Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Orphan Last, aka Skylar Madison, and today we're continuing with the video presentation series. So in the previous video we made a script and we made the audio. Now, one thing that I left out in that previous video is that when you're recording your audio, you're going to want to save your Audacity project. You don't just want to export it. The reason being is because it's not uncommon for you to start visualizing things better now that you have a script, audio, and once you start working on the storyboard, new ideas occur, different realizations come into your mind, and changes happen. If you just export the audio, then what's going to happen is you might have an MP3 file or whatever type of file that you're using, and every time that you wind up editing that sort of file, you run the risk of reducing the quality. So what you're seeing me doing on the screen right now is I'm taking all of the red text inside of the script, which signifies various bits of footage that I'll need. Some will be video screen capture footage, some will be stuff that I'll have to animate with Opentoonz. So yeah, I'm taking all that red text and putting it into a different file. Now I could have put that text into Notepad, but I wanted to continue to use LibreOffice so that I could color code it. Each color signifies something different. I then opened up Krita, and then I drew out an approximation of what the screen size is and duplicated it a number of times, and that starts the basis of my storyboard. At that point, I saved that particular storyboard format page as its own separate file so that I could open up a blank storyboard page at any point in time if I needed to. I then took each item from the list and wrote it into the Krita document. Now, I could have used a little screen capture footage and put it in there, but that would have taken just as long as just writing it out, and the text tool isn't really very good inside of Krita 3.3.3. However, Krita 4 is coming out, and they have made improvements. It's not perfect, but they have made improvements with the text tool. Now, in the end, I'll have to use something like 3 pages of storyboarding, but in this video, I only cover 2 pages. The third storyboard page will probably be filling in about 3 or 4 different frames. And that's because of new ideas that popped into my head while actually visualizing things much clearer. Once I have all of the instructions in the Krita documents, I create a key so that I could make sense of the color coding I'll be using in the storyboard. I'm using the same sort of term as a key on a map. Different color coding, different sorts of symbols mean different things. You don't necessarily have to use these. I just decided to use that. Basically, the key is this. The color blue, having a blue mouse, blue arrows, and stuff like that. Blue stuff in general signifies footage that I'll be making with video screen capture software. Red signifies all of the footage that I'll have to make with Opentoonz. Later on, I add more colors, but you get the idea of what the key is. I decided to use screenshots rather than draw everything out. Windows 10, by default, has the snipping tool, which is a really good screenshot software, but plenty of other free screenshot software exists on the internet if you don't have Windows 10. The main reason why I'm using screenshots is because I want my storyboard to be as clean, clear, and understandable as humanly possible. I'm not a master at storyboarding, so I had to think really carefully about how I'd communicate to myself, how I'd be animating, or how I'd be communicating this stuff to myself down the road when all this information isn't as clear as it was when I first embarked on the project. The best thing that I can really say is manage your layers well. Oftentimes you'll see me repeating steps over and over again. It's really difficult to juggle tons and tons of different layers all at once, but sometimes I manage it. What I found works best is work on a panel on the storyboard, keep all of your layers separate, then once you're done, read what you'll need for the next panel, and then merge only the layers, that should be merged. Then duplicate the layers that you'll be needing for the next panel, move them on over, and then for the previous panel, merge the rest of them, so that as much as possible you have just as close to one layer in the entire document. Now, that's not going to happen, but the closer and closer you go towards having just one layer for the entire document, the faster the whole process will go. Less processing power and such like that. If you accidentally merge everything, or the wrong thing, or too many things, or whatever, it's not the end of the world. You have selection tools to help you to reuse assets on different panels and such like that. And actually, sometimes just selecting something on a merged level takes just as long to find it in all of the other layers. If you have a client, you'll have to share your storyboard with them in all probability and show them what you're working on. Show them how everything will look, how everything will flow, and everything like that. Other times, they'll actually have the storyboard and tell you how everything's going to go down. But knowing how to do it yourself is key. And if you need to make your own storyboard and you show this stuff to the client, you need to make sure that the content is easy to understand more than you need to actually worry about it looking pretty. It doesn't need to look pretty, necessarily. The storyboard is the skeletal structure of the footage that you're going to be making. It's pretty important. It doesn't need to look pretty, but just like an armature to a sculpture, it needs to have the basic shape. So in my previous attempt at making the series, I already made some improvements to the mock-up icon design that I wanted to work with. And I'm so glad that I'm making this storyboard because it got me to realize that I need to do more work on these icon designs. I really like these icon designs, but I need 2 versions of them. Working with them on Krita on an interface that looks like Opentoonz got me to think, how am I going to interact with them in Opentoonz and its interface? How am I going to move them around? As it stands, these icons are just one big button. Clicking and dragging doesn't really make much sense. They need to have a handle of some sort. How do you get rid of these collapsed windows? How does the free-floating icon differ from a snapped icon? Things like that. It's important to think about these sorts of things. I decided that purple content on the storyboard is instruction, so I put that in the key, especially since I came up with ideas that didn't actually wind up in the initial script. I needed to clearly communicate to myself what these deviations from the script and audio were. Since I added more ideas to the project, I needed to open the Audacity project and listen to the audio while looking at each panel of the storyboard. I found the parts that contradicted the script, and then I recorded a long bit of silence. I then selected that silence and went to Effect, Amplify, and then I set it to -100, and then I pressed Ctrl-R a few times. I then cut and pasted the silence into the main track, and then recorded the new bits of audio that I needed. When that was done, I'd go over to the silence, cut it, then paste it into another selection, and then repeat. So that brings this video to its conclusion. If you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you didn't like it, please like, share, and subscribe anyways. There's a lot of work that goes into these videos, and it'd be greatly appreciated. If you'd like to take a look at any of my other videos, feel free to click on any of them that are appearing on the screen right now. Thank you very much for your time.